perhaps Sony lied to Microsoft and to gamers about an exclusivity agreement with Black Myth Wukong.
Woo! Didn't I tell you PlayStation ponies? But except you guys wanted to blame the Xbox Series for that, man. And you know how I knew this? Because Sony has been doing the same exact thing ever since the PlayStation 1. That's why I already knew that they were doing some exclusive deal with Black Myth Wukong. It's like the same excuse that they use. Oh, that's the reason as to why the Capcom Fighter Collection can't run on the Series X because of blah, 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 blah. That's all you people was doing was capping, man. And we were sitting here trying to tell you that that's not the case, man. And as you can clearly see with this new information that we have out now, that Sony's going back to doing the same things they did with the PlayStation 1 as well as the PlayStation 2. Okay, I've been telling you fools this, but nope, y'all didn't want to listen to me, man. It's like y'all living in the past and I'm living in the future, and you people are just finally starting to get catched up with things.
Now, I want to break this down because this leak, this confirmation of a deal, has stirred up a surprising amount of controversy. Activision Blizzard acquisition during the whole FTC court case where Microsoft was trying to buy Call of Duty, exclusivity agreements, and Sony did do that. They did list off the fact that they do have a bunch of exclusive deals with PlayStation doing stuff.
And what's even more laughable about this is the fact that a lot of these exclusivity deals are timed exclusive and ain't none of them in-house. Matter of fact, yes, Sony owns Helldivers 2, but it was made by a third-party studio. Sony, what are you doing?
With Final Fantasy and stuff like that. But Black Myth Wukong was not on that list. Maybe it was outdated, maybe they didn't have a deal at the time, but a lot of people are straight up saying, this is fake. So the source is saying it had to lie. Somewhere along the line, oh my God. Okay, we're going to pretend that didn't just fall over. My piece of soundproofing just fell over. It scared the hell out of me. Okay, sorry. Anyways, people are saying they don't believe this because...
Of course you don't believe it, because you people ain't nothing but a bunch of ponies and you want to push these narratives as to why the Xbox Series S can't run the game even though it's coming on that platform at a later date. Why do you think all of a sudden Marvel Capcom Collection, even the second one that they got coming out, guys, and the only excuse that they can use is say, well, it's running on an old engine, so make it for the Xbox One just like you did Capcom Fighting Collection, and it'll be backwards compatible with the Xbox Series X. No different than what you're doing with the PS4 to PS5 version. Have you noticed that there's not a PS5 logo at the top? So it's essentially a PS4 game being essentially used through PlayStation 5's backwards compatibility system. So why can't the same thing be done with Xbox? They're the same exact hardware, and all you people wanted to do was cap for that. So you're trying to tell me the Series X can't run that? They can't run the Marvel Capcom Collection, some 20 to 30-year-old fighting games? Come on, man. We already got the proof, man. We got the evidence. Clearly, as you guys can see with Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, these are exclusive, time-exclusive deals that Sony's doing, and they're not telling anybody. Maybe on a few things, but I can guarantee you that Black Myth Wukong, the reason as to why it's not on Xbox day one is because of this nonsense, man. It's crazy that Sony has gotten so desperate with games that they got to start locking third-party studios to make games for them. Hey, man, can you please put it on our platform for 2 to 3 years? Please make sure it don't go to Xbox. But guess what? That's something you ponies didn't understand. Your games have to at least sell. Because now Square is like, oh, my God, we got a financial dip going on at Square Enix. And now what we're going to do what we're going to do now, I know what we're going to do. We're going to double down on the Xbox. That's what we're going to do. We might even work with Microsoft by putting these games on Game Pass day and date, day one.
It seems like a strange, very expensive move that happened to pay off. But this is the other thing. I love the game. I don't buy this for a second, but I love this far more. So what you're saying is that PlayStation will take 30% of every Xbox game and buy more exclusivity deals for PlayStation.
But hold on. But this kind of goes against your argument. Because don't you guys have a problem with Microsoft doing these time exclusivity deals with Indiana Jones and Bethesda and Activision games? And now all of a sudden you're defending that Sony's doing... Like I said, there's no such thing as an exclusive now, guys. Why are we still fighting? You guys have already admitted it yourself. There's no such thing as a console exclusive anymore, man. Your games are going to be ported on everything. So what is the point of you people still continuing to fight on the sole concept of what's exclusive and what's not? Because at the end of the day, to me, it seems like it's all over. You know, Microsoft's going to have time exclusive with some games. Sony's going to have time exclusive with some games. But all in all, most of these games are going to be interchangeable.
I love you, PlayStation. So that is kind of the thing, is that if this is real, it essentially means that PlayStation is still trying to sign a bunch of exclusivity contracts. I think the biggest criticism that a lot of people have had this year, myself included, is the fact that Sony isn't releasing enough first-party games.
Yeah, they're not. I'm going to be honest with you. Where's the first-party games from their in-house studios? I mean, Insomniac is the only company from this group of people that is actually out here trying to put out games, like a huge output of games, even though most of them are just some superhero titles, but at least they're trying. But where's Naughty Dog? When is the latest Naughty Dog game, guys, that we've got? Oh, that's right. Final Fantasy. Last of Us Remake and Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Wow. And an Uncharted game that happened to be remastered again for the PS5.
And they're doing licensed stuff, like Helldivers 2 was an exclusive, but it wasn't really made by a Sony studio.
Uh-huh. You see, a lot of these games that Sony got are not being made in-house. That's a huge problem.
So if they keep doing this, if Sony keeps funding development and buying exclusivity contracts, even if it is for stuff like Final Fantasy...
You know what it is, though? I know exactly what's going on. Sony don't have the money themselves to be able to want to take these gambles. So they're essentially using Square, whoever is doing Black Myth Wukong. They're essentially using them so they can go bankrupt, right? So they can go bankrupt while they can still have their money in their pockets. They'll pay a little bit of money here and there. But like I said, they don't want to have a bunch of Concord situations. Bro, at this point, Sony's done. Sony's done. The PlayStation 5 is over. The fact that Sony's not confident to use their own in-house studios to bring games to you people shows you that what's the point of a PlayStation 5 platform? What's the point? What is the point of the platform? Especially if you don't have, quote-unquote, real exclusives anymore.
Birth and Final Fantasy 16 and stuff like that. It's clearly selling systems for cheaper, I guess, than the upfront cost of making your own IP. And I like this take by...
So that's what I'm trying to say. Sony's essentially using all these companies so they can go bankrupt while they can still maintain their company. Because look at what happened with Concord. Ain't nobody was supporting that. That was a huge financial loss for Sony. Imagine if they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other games just like that. At that point, Sony would be like, what is the point of us even making games anymore? We might as well just wait for Xbox games to come on our platform and just push our subscription service with PlayStation Premium.
Sean right here, he said, let's say this was the case, even though I do have my doubts. Who cares? When did exclusives become such a taboo and a bad thing in gaming? I'm buying that stupid MetaQuest 3 just to play that Batman Arkham VR because it's exclusive.
Of course it's exclusive to it because that's the only way you're going to be able to play virtual reality. That is such a terrible argument, RGT85. Of course it's exclusive to the VR headset because you have to have virtual reality to play it.
So, yeah. I find this whole discourse interesting because of the anger more than anything else, where I like playing on PlayStation. I literally have my PS5 booted up right here to play Diablo right freaking...
Which is an Xbox game.
And now, as soon as I'm done with this video. But when other games go to other platforms, it doesn't really affect me.
It doesn't? So why... Hold on. You just said it doesn't affect you. So why does Microsoft putting games on your platform impact a person wanting to go out there to buy one? Why did Indiana Jones being ported to the PlayStation 5 in spring of 2025 mean that the Xbox console's dead? You see, bro, the proof is already right there in front of them. GameStop with another W. I have sat here in this community and everything that I've stated to you guys have all came true. Please subscribe, like, leave comments on my channel, bro. I am the realness in this community. You people know this. There's no reason to argue with me anymore. Everything that I've said came to truth. Y'all seen it. Now Sony's doing the same thing. Now PlayStation fanboys want to come to the realization, oh, it's not that serious no more. Who cares, but you guys will go 1 month and then you'll go back to saying Xbox is dead, even though Sony's doing the same exact thing. I told you.
I think I'm fascinated by the defensive nature of PlayStation fans, where it's not just enough that the success is so overwhelming. They want to make sure that the walls are up, that everything is legitimately earned. I want to end this off with a tweet from Mooch. I love this guy, been on his podcast a bunch of times, very nice dude. And he said like this: so every game that PlayStation has ever pursued a deal with for a timed exclusive since I can remember, they would yell about it from the rooftops so that they would know that it was coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, I remember they did it with Resident Evil
First, but with Black Myth Wukong, they paid extra money to get the exclusivity deal, but decided to keep it quiet. And then it's the old Cole Phelps doubt meme.
Why, what is, how, bro, did you people just graduate? Like how old are you people? Like, I understand that you guys are grown people. If this wasn't mentioned in the documents, if this wasn't mentioned during the FTC, what happened with Black Myth Wukong, the reason as to why there's such an outrage, because this shouldn't have happened. Sony lied. That's why you guys are like, oh, I doubt it. Why would Sony do that and keep it so silent? There's a reason for that. Because they wanted to keep things discreet. They've been doing this since PlayStation 1, bruh. Talking about Namco will publish your games for free on the PS1 as long as you keep these games exclusive and don't put them on the Sega Saturn. Man, Sony has a huge history of doing this. What are you people talking about? They did the same thing with Spider-Man Enter Electro.
I think that this is an interesting thing because, in my experience, Paul Tassi is very, very legit. This guy is an actual journalist. He is one of
I'm not even going based off what he said. I'm going based off the knowledge of how Sony operates as a business. They've been doing the same thing since PlayStation 1. Every game that you grew up playing on the PlayStation 1 and 2 happened to be made by Capcom, Konami. Those are the games that were loved. You know what I mean? As much as people want to say the Super Nintendo was better than the Genesis, I personally prefer both. I like both of them. I'm going to just be honest with you. But if you want to come down to real exclusives, the Sega Genesis completely whooped the Super Nintendo. For every Final Fight, we had a Phantasy Star. For every, not Donkey Kong, what was it? They had another platformer game. Whatever. For every Mega Man, we had a Vector Man. Okay? For every Final Fight, we had a Streets of Rage. You see, are you guys starting to get what I'm coming from? You see? None of these games was exclusive for Nintendo, but these are the top 10 games that most people would mention in their top 10 list. Yeah, they might throw a Donkey Kong Country or a Link to the Past, but majority of it would be third party. Y'all know it. Sega Genesis had its own real exclusives. In-house, baby. In-house. Made by Sega themselves. You feel me? Straight up ownership from Sega. That's the definition of a real exclusive, okay? But like I said, fanboy stuff aside, I still like both of those platforms regardless. But I'm just saying that's the same thing that happened with the PlayStation 1. That's why the PlayStation 1 was so dominant, because of third party. Nobody cared about no Blasto. Nobody cared about no One. Nobody even cared about no Parappa. I mean, it did do well for the most part. But nobody cared about those games, guys. If you ask somebody, name 20 games on the PlayStation 1 that you like. Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, the Symphony of the Night, man, you know what I'm saying? What about Ape Escape? What about Ape? No. Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, you know what I'm saying? But you know, none of those games are real exclusives made by Sony. I don't care, but what would you know? Don't you like Legend of Legaia? No. Final Fantasy 7, A7, 8, and 9, maybe even the anthologies, you know what I'm saying? You do know that none of these games are made by Sony, right? Yeah, they had the Tenshus, the Tenchu, that was Activision. Those were the top games. All right, what about the PS2, man? PS2 had a lot of games locked down at the time. What would be your top 10 PS2 list, man? You know what I'm saying? Resident Evil 4, you know what I mean? What about Extermination? I never heard of that game. What about Extermination? I never played that game. We got Devil May Cry 1 and 3. You know what I'm saying? Those are not, that's made by Capcom. I don't care. And and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That game got ported to the Xbox next year though. They played it first on PlayStation. Okay, what other games you added for your top 10 list, man? Madden 05, NBA Live, NBA Street Volume 3. bro, none of these games you mentioned are exclusives, bro. None of them. I'm telling you, man, as much as I love the PS1 and 2, but let's be honest, man, you only loved it because of the third party, bro, from Capcom, Shadow of Rome. You feel me? You would never see a top 10 PlayStation 2 list and people are going to mention games like Extermination, Shadow of Colossus, games that Sony owns. It's always going to be third party games. Oh, yeah, matter of fact, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, that was exclusive too. Bro, none of these are exclusives. These are all games made by Square. Listen to yourselves, man. Really listen to what I'm saying. The PS1 and 2 was only good because of third party, guys. Y'all like, what? I never imagined. Man, the PS2 and 1, y'all probably saying, they suck now. They trash. Sony got carried by third party that whole generation. That's why when the PS3 came out and Microsoft shift the narrative about saying, hey, we're getting Final Fantasy as well. We're getting Grand Theft Auto. We're getting all these games that you would have locked down on a PS2 console, and we're getting them just like you. That's when the 360, if you notice, took over, right? Because Sony didn't have the power to lock down a Dragon Ball Budokai. They didn't have the power no more. And that power was also being shifted towards Xbox. And that's the reason as to why Sony has lost their true power within the gaming industry. Y'all like, well, Games, that's a good point, man, because every person that I knew that talked about, how they love Tekken and, how they love, quote unquote, PlayStation 2 exclusives, none of them are exclusives. As much as I like some of them, like Extermination, bro, but come on, man. Clock Tower 3, bro, come on, man. Up Secure, bro. I'm just a Silent Hill 2, and these are not exclusives, man. You feel me? They're not real exclusives. They're third-party games being masqueraded at the time as exclusive. Well, Silent Hill got ported over. But I'm just saying masqueraded as exclusives on the PS2. But they weren't really exclusives.
Main dudes over at Forbes when it comes to the gaming aspect, if he lied, he'd get fired. He'd lose an incredibly cushy job. I don't know if you've ever watched this guy's YouTube videos, but
I don't care, bro.
It's a foul. They were correct. Those dudes who said that something is fishy about this, the statements of saying, oh, we're not quite getting up to snuff, we're still working on it, this stuff turned out to be a bit of a misdirect. But what do you guys think about it? Are you excited about whenever Black Myth Wukong actually comes out on Xbox? Or at this point, do you even care? I love the game. It completely blew my mind. It's still one of the biggest games on the planet, which is so bizarre to think about. But I am excited to see what comes next from that studio for sure, and what comes next to PlayStation after Astro Bot.
Indiana Jones. That's what you can look forward to. Like I said, man, exclusives is over. Just go play games, man. Now you guys are just fighting for timed exclusive. Now you guys are just fighting for the fact that, we don't play Final Fantasy 16 first. We'll play it later, but we don't play it first. Just like with Indiana Jones. We play it first, they play it later. That's exactly what consoles have become. The concept and the ideology of exclusives have died. They've been dead. I've been telling you guys that concept has been dead for a while, but it's nice to see that you guys are now starting to understand things that I've been saying for quite some time. Because I told people that Black Myth Wukong and that Capcom Fighting Collection, these are some exclusive deals that Sony's doing, bro. Nobody's stupid. They've done this before, bro. I'm telling you, I know how this company operates, man. They've been doing this for the longest time. You know what I mean? They did it with Dino Crisis 2 as well. That game was, bro, they're like, no, lock it to the PS1. But yet they had Dino Crisis 1 on the Dreamcast and but they're like, nah, lock this one to the PS because of how successful the game was. So, hey, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. And hopefully you guys enjoyed my gaming knowledge that I spread it. Peace out.